Hello and welcome. You're watching News Central. My name is Olisa Chukwumah, and we're here with the Special Advisor to the Governor on Innovation and Technology. I'm talking about Mr. Olatubosun Alake. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being on News Central.
Thank you.
First off, the one quite catching theme like we have this year is Smarter Lagos, smart data, smarter Lagos, perhaps ostensibly for a smarter city. Why that theme for 2020?
So we do realize as cities grow, as populations grow, as perhaps resources become more scarce, you need to apply a lot of ingenuity, you need to apply a lot of technology for the purposes of efficiency, for sustainability, for livability, right? How do you effectively manage resources, right? With 21 million people in a very limited space, or 22 million people in a very limited space, right? And so we realized that the only way to do that is to become a smart city, right? And the bedrock of any smart city is data, right? Data with actionable insights that lead to better management decisions, that leads to more sustainability within the city. For instance, migration levels, school attendance records, traffic patterns, right? And just civic data that would help understand where to invest, where to properly allocate resources, where to perhaps build new roads or new hospitals, or how to effectively reduce fossil fuels, how to manage the grid better. You know, all those things need to advance quickly if Lagos is going to remain livable and sustainable. And as such, it was important that we start not only conversations, but serious initiatives. And so this particular theme is capturing the essence of the foundations of the smart city. Smart data, smarter Lagos.
Yeah, we'll come to data, especially how it informs policy, formation and implementation. But I'm really forced to ask because we talked about last year's, which was out of Technology Lagos 1.0. And one of the key, outputs we took away was the innovation of the Lagos Innovation Master Plan. How far with that?
We thought the master plan on 4 main pillars. So data access, infrastructure, talent, and funding. And there are a number of initiatives under these 4 pillars that are currently underway, right? For instance, today, under the funding pillar, we launched the Startup Lagos platform, basically to unlock data in the startup ecosystem for would-be investors, because we do realize that there's probably very little knowledge about the ecosystem to the kinds of investors we want to see in the market. And so Startup Lagos would be that platform for local and international investors to get more data on our ecosystem. We have the infrastructure layer. We've been talking about our Metro Fiber project, and that is very comprehensive. We've seen evidence of it across the city, right? So we've started on that, and we've done quite considerable amount of work in terms of expansion, both fiber optic cables and duct infrastructure that other infrastructure companies would use. Under the talent pillar, we have things like our open source platform and partnerships with major tech players for trainings, for technical training and upskilling in different technical disciplines, from software development, data analysis, data science, and the like.
All right, we'll come to Smart City. Well, I'm forced to ask, coming from the Office of Innovation and Technology, what has been the biggest challenge data-wise?
Okay, so I would say it's in some of the challenges we have is just in bringing a lot of stakeholders within the service together. The way a lot of things were structured, there are a lot of siloed agencies, siloed
Most of them private.
MDAs, a lot of them performing their projects on their own without no interactive base layer. I think some of the challenges is actually getting different agencies to really key into a very singular goal. And how do you get data sets that are informed from multiple agencies, right? Getting that discipline of collaboration is a key challenge, but it's happening, right? Otherwise, we won't be here, talking about it. And of course, just in terms of the execution challenges we have in our market, whether it's electricity or things of that nature. But we are learning every day to scale a lot of these issues as we implement these solutions.
That then brings me to that question about the data, gathering data, collating data, analyzing data, using data, both from your office and also for the private sectors, and also transcending that into policy implementation. Well, that is what that affects the average Lagosian, and this is the biggest populous city in Africa.
So one of the engagement points that we have is the policy ideathon, right? We have a lot of policy proposals and policy initiatives that we want to implement, but it won't be complete if we don't hear from the people that the policy will affect. And I would like to encourage everybody in the ecosystem to also engage the lawmakers to be able to lobby for the right kinds of policies. We definitely want to implement strong policies that would enable the ecosystem and, of course, incentivize technology and development. And that's one of the things the governor was speaking about Yaba cluster. There are going to be a lot of policies there that would enable a cluster of innovation to really spring up. And we're working with the Ministry of Justice to be able to pass those things.
On a final note, we've seen quite a year 2020 in terms of the pandemic, and how the disruptions have happened and people had to rely back on data and technology that perhaps was there and not being utilized. Now, from your experience in the Office of Innovation and Technology, what is the next phase for the vision, going forward?
We realize we have a very robust ecosystem. How can we leverage that to help solve the problems within and outside government? I think that's one of our key goals. Involving the ecosystem in governance, involving the ecosystem in solution provision and all of that. That's a key thing for us. And we know that will help, reform the civil service. It will help reform a lot of civic areas in the state. And, another one of our goals is really to help deep research to really thrive, right? We know research provides intellectual property and patents that they store value, right? And this value leads to economic prosperity.
From the Office of Innovation and Technology, if you were to tell a Lagosian or a city dweller, because this is one of Africa's most populous cities, smarter data, smarter Lagos, what would that phrase or word or takeaway be from you?
So if I was to tell a Lagosian what smart data, smarter Lagos means, well, it means, for him, it will be the ability to live in a better Lagos. The promise of living in a more sustainable Lagos, the promise of better management of resources, and just the promise of a much livable city.
Well, Olatubosun Alake, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.